Hey guys, this is Chase from thetechunion.com. So today's tutorial will be talking about null objects as well as tracking, and in there is going to be parenting. So I'm going to go straight into the topic. Basically, the main idea of this whole tutorial is going to be null objects. So we're going to start off by creating a new composition, which you should know how to do by now. So we're going to call this nulls, and we might as well call it parenting because that's in it as well. I'm going to be using the 30 frames per second because of a clip that's going to be in here. Everything else doesn't really matter right now. So basically what we're talking about is null objects, and if you don't know what a null object is, it's basically something that is used to kind of organize your layers in a way that you can manipulate them all at one time. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So if we create a new solid, we'll make this solid white. We'll call this BG for background. Then we'll add some more solids. Basically, what I'm going to be doing here is call this, rectangle. I'm going to make these a bunch of different colors, and I'm going to fast forward once I get all these, so I will be right back. Okay guys, so I've gotten all the solids I need. Now I'm going to go ahead and position them in a random order. They're not really that important, or it is not really important where they are. Here, I'm just going to place them around here. This won't take long. Basically, the idea is that you have a bunch of layers that, let's say you want to move in a specific way at the same time, and you want to keep them all proportional. The answer to do that without having to precompose, and if I haven't talked about precomposing, basically what it is if I take all these layers right here and I right click and say precompose, and I call this let's see, rectangles. Basically what that does is it puts them in a new composition. So if I open this up now, you can see they're all right in there. And if I go back here, they can be moved around as one layer. But sometimes what you're looking for is not that, because you're actually moving a whole composition around, which could have some effects on the edge of your composition. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to use a null object. So let's go ahead and create a new null object. And you see you have this little red square here. Now, go ahead and we're going to do something called parenting. So we're going to highlight all of our rectangles, and we're going to drag this little swirly pick whip. I think that's what it's called, but we're going to drag it towards our null. Now you can see over here under the little parent area, all of these are parented to our null object. Now if we click on our null object and we, scale it up or scale it down or move it, all of the rectangles are attached to it, and they're all scaling proportional to our null object as well as to each other. So that's the basic idea behind null objects. The most common thing that they're used for is tracking. Now, tracking is something that's going to be used in most of your projects unless your camera is staying still, but it's something that's really essential. So we're going to dive right into that. It shouldn't take too long. So you now know the basic idea of null objects, and now I'm going to show you how to apply them to something like tracking. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new composition and call this tracking. Right, that should be fine. Everything's good. Now I'm going to take this video, which I took a while ago. It was for a short film I haven't put out yet. It's still in the editing phase, but we're going to use this clip. Basically what this is it's me kind of pretending to do something with my wrist. There's supposed to be a hologram there, and I've put these tracking markers on the wall because the camera's moving, so I need to be able to track this shot so that I can put eventually in the final result a portal, which is what it's supposed to be, on the wall. So there's a few different ways you can track this. You can either use the built-in motion tracker in After Effects. You can do the 3D camera tracker, which isn't really necessary for this shot, or there's other third-party programs that you can get to track, but we're going to use the basic motion tracker that comes with After Effects. So we're going to go ahead and right-click and create a new null object right off the bat, because we're going to be applying our tracking data into this null object. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to click on our footage, and we're going to go to animation, and we're going to track the motion. Alright, this brings up this little tab over here called the tracker. Now, once we get this up, make sure you have your layer selected, and you're going to track the motion. Alright, this brings up a track. Oh, it was probably already up. Anyway, this brings up a track point. Now, what this is doing is when you place it over an area, you're basically telling it to track this point. Now, the box on the inside is the area where it's tracking, and the box on the outside is telling it to look inside of this area. Okay, so it's going to look inside of this area and try to find this point, and it's going to do that for each frame. So we're going to go to the beginning, make sure we're lined up, and then if it's rotating, which it is a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and check the rotation, which works because we have a second point to track. So I'm going to take this over, right over here, and we'll set it right here. Right, we'll see how well that does. It's a pretty big area to track. The markers are a little big, but it shouldn't matter too much. Again, this is a rough track. I would probably use a third-party program for this, probably Mocha, but trying to keep it basic. Okay, so that looks good. We're going to go ahead and play this forward. And as you see, the points are actually doing a pretty nice job of sticking to those tracking markers. Now there's a little wobbling because the tracking markers are pretty big, and there's a lot of blue area that it's getting confused on. But that is easily fixed before you go into post by just, you know, making the tracking markers smaller. Now you saw there, my arm went in front of the tracking marker, and it caused a slight disturbance, but it got back on track, so I'm not going to worry about it, but normally you would want to worry about that. Oh, it got off on the second tracking point, so what we're going to do, where did it get off? Got off right there. Basically, what you would do is you would just take this, and wherever it got off, you would correct it again, and play it, pause. We'll just go forward frame by frame. And then right here you see it gets off. Oops. So just kind of put it to where you think it will be. This is not a very good shot to be tracking at all, but it'll do. So at this point we're just going to have to wait for my arm to get out of the way. Okay. That works somewhat. Again, this is a very hard shot to track. Okay, now that, oops, sorry. Now that we've gotten back on track, let us, oh, okay, sorry. Alright. Alright, so you get the basic idea. That took a little longer than anticipated, but my arm decided to go in front of the tracking markers. Okay, so now that you are satisfied with your track, basically you're going to edit the target. Now, what the target is basically where you're putting your tracking data at. So we're putting it inside of null 2 because that is the purpose of our null object. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to click apply, and X and Y is good. Now you can see we have a null object that's sticking pretty well to our scene. Now you can see it wobbles a little bit. That's to be expected though. So you can see all of these keyframes now are all inside of our null. So now we can apply the rules that we know of our null object as well as parenting to create some cool stuff. So let's create some text. Let's say hello, because I can't think of anything better. And looks pretty good. We're going to rotate it a little bit. Match it up with the wall. Oops. Good enough. There it is. Hello. And you can see, let's just put this back. Oh, sorry. That was bad. Of course, you have to parent it to your null. So once again, this little icon right here, drag it onto your null, and you see it's parented. Now if we play it, you can see more or less it's stuck to the wall. It's not perfect, not a great track. However, it gets the point across. There we go. Pretty nice. Alright, so that's basically all for this tutorial. If you enjoyed, make sure to check out the next tutorial. We will be covering track mats. You're about a little over halfway done with the beginner tutorial series, so keep on going and enjoy track mats, and then after that 3D. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.